when it comes to subject two, you might want to find a wholesaler, right? And have the wholesaler, find a property that's, let's say, about to go on foreclosure, or they're behind on payments some kind of way. If that's the case, you could come through and say, hey, let me catch you up on these back payments. And in return, after you do that, they'll sign you over the deed if they agree to sign you over the deed. But as far as the loan, you're not assuming the loan is going to stay in their name.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jamel Gibbs. Welcome to another podcast episode. This is the Business and Investing Podcast. We're going to talk about buying and holding real estate and the importance of doing it early in your real estate investing business. I know on this show, we talk a lot about wholesaling and different ventures in real estate, but truth be told, at the end of the day, you have to build passive income in your real estate business in order to build true wealth. If you're not building income, that passive income early enough, you can literally set yourself back years. It happened to me. And that's the reason why I'm saying that. I started off in this business as we used to buy, fix, and then rehab and refinance. They call it the BRRRR strategy today, right? So when I first started between 2002 to 2007, that's all I was doing. The problem was I was letting go of every single property that I came across rather than holding on to more properties. So then, when the market tanked, I smartened up and I started holding on to more properties and building that real wealth. At the end of the day, wholesaling is a high paying job. You heard me say it before. And, although you can make a lot of money with wholesaling, you'll never build real wealth with wholesaling real estate. So at the end of the day, you need to hold on to properties the same way you need to wholesale properties for cash. To me, wholesaling is a means to an end. It allows you to build the capital that you need in your business to be able to buy and hold more properties, which is where the real wealth comes in. And we talk about generational wealth, stuff that you could pass down to your family, your kids, other people that you're looking to take care of. So today, our special guest, he's been investing for a few years now, and I wanted to get him on the line to talk about how he's buying and holding properties. We're going to provide you with a step-by-step process on how you can do that as well. And more important than anything, at the end of the day, you need to take action with this information. Information is great, but if you don't apply the information, then you're never going to get the results that you want in your business. Asahn Guyton, what's going on?
Peace, King. Peace. What's the word?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Everything good, man. I just had to jump in here too. I want to let you know it's got something going on in Lagos, Nigeria as well, but I primarily focus in the Midwest.
Perfect, man. So you're doing everything virtually. So you're buying and holding virtually at this.
Some of them I go see, early on in the business, I was going like early 2018 and 19, I was going out to Milwaukee a lot and seeing them physically. But once I got the gist of how everything go, when I got my feet wet, this houses I bought that I don't even see. You know what I'm saying? Like once I get the inspection back and you know how it go. I look through the inspection, I see the bills, I go through the detailed paperwork. And once the numbers is right and all that, I pull a trigger.
Gotcha, man. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man? And then we'll jump into the meat.
Yeah, indeed. I'm Asahn Guyton, born and raised in Jersey. I've been in Jersey all my life until I came out here to Vegas almost 3 years ago. And, real estate was something I always was trying to get into for years. I was a student of the game first. I was learning about wholesaling, learning about fix and flip. And once I came across buy and hold, I knew instantly, like, yo, this is for me. You know what I'm saying? People was telling me like, nah, you're not going to be able to do it. You want to do this first so you can build capital. You want to do this first so you can get your money right. And I refused to do that. I just came up with some different strategies. So I'm a primarily based buy and hold investor. And I specialize in long distance investing.
Gotcha, man. So, like we said, you're in Vegas, but you don't actually invest in Vegas. Everything is done
at all.
Perfect.
It's too expensive for me, honestly, when it comes to from a buy and hold aspect. Now, primary residence is a cool market. But if I'm going to make some money, not the money that I look to make each month, which is at least $500 roughly in profit, I want to make that out here. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah. So how many units did you buy over the last, few years?
I want to say the last 28 to 30 months, we talking early 2018, around May-ish, I have a total of 65 units right now.
65 units. And we talking, what is that? That's less than 3. That's almost 3 years.
Yeah, almost 3 years. I kind of got it. I got it jumping, man, and we could definitely get into that too. I believe in creative financing, so I kind of once I learned the game and got my feet wet, I got busy. So everybody that was telling me you're not going to be able to do that so fast, you could buy maybe a house every 6 months. Nah, I didn't listen to that. You know what I'm
Got you.
saying?
Got you,
That's
man. So let me ask you this. Obviously, you would consider yourself to be relatively new, but at this point, you're experienced in the business. Was it an easy transition to get into the real estate business for you?
No, it wasn't easy, man. It definitely wasn't easy. I did make some mistakes earlier on. I mean, probably like, like us all. And once after I learned the mistakes I learned, that's when I started getting better and better. Just, with anything, came growth. So,
Mm-hmm.
at one time I was trying to wear too many hats. I was trying to play maintenance man. I was trying to play the sheriff eviction guy. I was trying to play property manager. I
Yeah.
was trying to, I didn't know that I just had to hire a team and get them in position. I didn't understand how systems work at the time. And then I became a professional at hiring professionals. You know what I'm saying? So I started putting some systems in place for those things. And that allowed me to be able to just handle my business and not work day to day on my business. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. We was just talking about some of the processes and procedures that I have in place for my business as well, man. We was talking about the Monday through Friday weekly schedule, man. So that's a beautiful
Right.
thing when you have everything systemized, you have everything in place. It makes life easier, it makes investing a lot easier for you too, right?
Absolutely.
And you mentioned something about mindset and just kind of making that mental shift. What type of
Mm-hmm.
mental shift did it take for you to be able to get 65 units starting from zero?
For one, believing in myself, realizing like just because everybody tell you, the old fashioned way, save up some money and buy one house every 6 months and then you could slowly quit your job. So
Right.
wanted to do more research. Like, nah, if I do that, I'll take forever. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I started doing a lot of research and I just learned different ways like business credit and how to leverage business credit to buying property and how to buy in bulk and sometimes how to buy more houses than one per deal. Like I'm sure you know about it, but there's something called a blanket loan. I
Yeah.
used my first deal and I bought 4 houses at one time. You know what I'm saying? And it allowed me, for those who don't know, a blanket loan allows you to buy multiple properties at one
Right.
time, own all the mortgages into one payment.
Right.
So I had one on my first joint. I had 4 houses, 25,000 a piece. And all I did was put 20,000 down using my business credit card. I liquidated that. And that was closing costs. That was, all the expenses tied into it. And I had a $600 mortgage. You know what I'm saying? But yet my rent roll was over 5,000 a month. You know what I'm
Did you have
saying?
to
So
put it? Did you have to put any work into them properties at all?
none. I'm talking about one property was a duplex. All I did was change the back bulbs. And then on the back porch, I changed the lights. You know what I mean? But I know every property isn't going to be like that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? The property for me definitely wasn't. But I mean, on that one, it was a home run. So, sometimes we do come across those special deals. It was an older couple trying to move to Miami. So they was like, they wanted to sell their whole portfolio, which was the
Right.
4 house. You know what I'm saying?
So
So,
pause for a second. Pause. So you say, I don't know if anybody caught that, right? I caught it though. You
right.
mentioned you had number one, you used a portfolio loan, a blanket loan, same thing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
You already described what a portfolio loan was, a blanket
Mm-hmm.
loan, same exact concept, right? But you mentioned that you had business credit
Mm-hmm.
and you used $20,000 off of your business credit card in order to
Mm-hmm.
be able to put down on the property to be able to
Absolutely.
acquire $100,000 in assets.
Absolutely. And off that business credit card, my payback each month was only $150. So, what we do is we take that expense and we add that to the expenses that's already with the mortgage, the water bills, the taxes, the insurance, et cetera, et cetera. And my whole overall expenses a month was only $1,200. Mind you, I'm bringing over $5,000 a month on that deal.
Yeah.
So it's like, so what's $150 in that case? You know what I mean?
So did you have to have good credit? And this is, I know the answer to this, but did you have to have good credit to get your business credit going?
Absolutely. Your personal credit profile is extremely important in building business credit. Now, a lot of people is going to tell other guys, yo, man, you got to get the U lines, you got to get the net 30s. I can only tell you, me personally, I've
Mhm.
never done, and I can't speak for nobody else. Maybe that's worked for them, but for me, I've never built business credit. I built my personal profile to get business credit, and then I leveraged that to buy property. You know what I'm
Got
saying?
you. Got you, man. So what were some of the obstacles that you faced getting started in the real estate business?
I would say for me, it was a long distance investing. So Milwaukee is a small town. I love Milwaukee, right? But I don't have no family there. I didn't have no friends. I didn't know nobody on the face of that earth, right?
How,
I'm
how
from.
did you even how did you even find out about Milwaukee then?
Good question. Okay, so my man, when I first moved to out here in Vegas, I got with a guy by the name of Will Roundtree,
That's
who,
my man.
yeah, absolutely. He kind of took me under the wing, and that's where he's actually originally from. So his team, along with him, kind of took me under the wing and just showed me like, yo, you got to learn how to buy right. You don't want to always just buy in your market if your market don't make sense. And
Right.
for me, from Jersey and living in Vegas, neither one made sense from a buy and hold aspect. So that's why I started taking a look at Milwaukee. Then after that, he just kind of, let me go do my thing. But when I got out there, I had to start, mixing up with people. And I started meeting some great people out there that kind of just, I boom, my man, do this, I do that, blah, blah, blah. And, that's how, you start, making connections and all that.
Absolutely, man. Will, I had him on the podcast last year, man. One of my original guests. I'm going to link it up at the top for everybody to be able to check out that podcast episode as well.
That's
but, yeah,
what's
man,
up.
so if we had to give our listeners a 3 to 5 step process to get started, going from A to Z, starting from where they are right now to ending up buying their first rental property, what would be your advice?
Okay, so first thing I would say is you want to find the capital. You want to find the money, right? Because you don't want to go into the game and start looking for property, and then the first thing your wholesaler or your agent says, oh, well, you don't even have the money for this property, etc. So I would say make sure your personal finances in order. It doesn't have to be liquid, though. It doesn't have to be liquid. Again, with the business credit, if you already have that on deck, or we didn't speak on this yet, but I got a lot of properties using subject to. I'm sure you know what that is, but for your listeners, that's also a dope creative way to jump into the game as well. If you don't have a whole bunch of money, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I would say you're gonna go from 1 and 3. I would say make sure your personal profile is right, man, your personal credit profile, and make sure you have a way to have access to capital. It doesn't have to be your capital. It could be the bank's capital, but just have access to it, and then learn how to analyze deals. You want to buy right. You don't want to buy something just to say I'm a quote unquote real estate investor, and you're not making no kind of money each month when your ROI come back. So just learn how to buy right. I love Milwaukee because I looked in the whole United States, and there's nowhere else I can buy a house for $30,000 and rent it out for $1,400 a month.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So them profits at that point is like ridiculous. So
you got me want to look at Milwaukee now, man.
Oh, man, you will love it. You will love it, man. You will love it. So I would say that, and you learn how to buy right, and just pull the trigger. Do the homework first, but definitely pull the trigger once you got your system right. You know what I mean?
Are you buying single families only, or are you buying multi units as well?
I actually mix it up, man. I got a lot of single families. I got a couple duplexes. I have commercial as well. And I recently did a syndication out in Lagos, Nigeria. So we bought 2 20-unit villages. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just getting busy, man. I'm trying to get it however I can, man.
So you bought property in Africa?
Yeah, man. Lagos, Nigeria.
That's
Absolutely.
What's up, man.
Yeah, and
that was a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, that was a syndication. Man. A few of my partners did. So that worked out.
Gotcha. Yeah. So step number 1 is to get the funding together. And obviously, you got to have decent credit using this particular method. Or can you mentioned you could do it through subject to as well, right?
Yes, indeed.
Creative ways to buy, right?
Absolutely. And with subject to, man, honestly, you don't have to have the best credit. You don't have to, none of that's going to go on your personal name. I know you know how this works, but for your listeners, when it comes to subject to, you might want to find a wholesaler, right? And have the wholesaler, find a property that's, let's say, about to go on foreclosure, or they're behind on payments some kind of way. If that's the case, you could come through and say, hey, let me catch you up on these back payments. And in return, after you do that, they'll sign you over the deed if they agree to sign you over the deed. But as far as the loan, you're not assuming the loan is going to stay in their name. Right. So that's a actually acquire property without even spending too much. You might could give them $1,000 or $2,000 just to get them on their way, help them get to the next location. You know what I'm saying? If you guys work that out, but essentially it won't be like how much you would spend on trying to buy, a regular investment property when it comes to 20% down.
Right. So how many units would you say you picked up through subject to only, roughly?
I did 6 subject to deals.
6?
Yeah, 6. Got I wanted, but you're not gonna find them every day. You got to really, spend time looking. And I don't do the cold calling myself. I got a team that, that do all that. But yeah, I want to get into more.
I was going to ask you, man, how are you finding your deals right now?
Well, when it comes to the subject twos and regular investment properties as well, I go to a lot of wholesalers because I like to get the off market joints. But lately, I've been getting a few realtors that's been trying to find me off market deals as well. The ones that's real savvy with it and been in the game for a minute, they can do that as well.
Yeah. It's funny, man, because I always tell people, again, wholesaling is great. But once you have access to the money, you can get as many deals as you want. It opens up the floodgates for you, right?
All day.
Once you got access to the money, finding deals is the easy part. Right?
Absolutely. That's why I tell people, man, listen, get business credit cards, man. Get yourself funding, because at the end of the day, even if you're not spending it, you could put it in a drawer. But whenever you find that deal or come across that right deal on the desk, the numbers make sense, you got access to pull a trigger because you got the capital already there. You know what I mean? You don't find a deal and then now you got to find the capital. That almost never works. You know what I'm saying? So just find it first.
So once you have access to the capital, you mentioned learning how to do your homework on the properties itself. What is that?
Absolutely.
What does that consist of?
So you want to find out, first you want to run a deed as well. You want to make sure there's no holes on the title, no liens, et cetera, et cetera. Once you get to that point, but before you even get to that point, you want to do an inspection on the property. You want to make sure it's straight. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure there's no problems with it. You want to make sure the roof and all that good, because you could get a property and then it could be a million problems. And now you're like, well, damn, I didn't went through all this work. But before I'm kind of going in reverse. But before I even get to there, the first thing I'm doing is running the numbers. I got to run the numbers. And a quick analysis how I run the numbers, I take the price of the property and I say, depending on how I'm going to acquire this property, if I'm going to put 20% down or not, I add that cost in, and then I add the cost. Okay, I know if I'm going to put 20% down, if this house is $50,000, I know that's going to be like, I think like $8,000 down or something like that. I know my mortgage payments to be, et cetera, et cetera. I take that. I take how much the water bill is going to be. I take consideration of tax. I go online and find a tax assessment, see what that's going to be. I just break down all the numbers. I call my insurance company. Hey, I'm going to do a quick quote. If I get this property on such and such, how much is my insurance going to be each month? Once I get all these numbers, then I know if it makes sense to pull a trigger or not.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, are you using the 1% or 1.5% rule? Let's say a property is $100,000 and you rent it for $1,000 to $1,500. Do you use that as well?
Sometimes, and then sometimes, like what I do for each unit of mine, I try to shoot for $500 profit each month.
Got you.
So that's the first thing I go for. If I can get at least 500, I usually pull the trigger. You know what I'm saying? So, but of course, that depends on how much the property is itself as well. You know what I'm saying? All of that then. So
now there's one market I'm gonna match with Milwaukee. I used to live there. It's called Reading, Pennsylvania. You could buy a house for $20,000-$30,000 and rent it for $1,000-$1,200 a month right now. Killing it, right? I bought a couple of hundred rentals out there before I left. So that's how I know.
Wow. You know what? I hear a lot about PA too. So I know you're right, because I'm always hearing about PA. I just never ran it. Yeah, but that's what's up. I'm going to check that out too.
Yeah, Allentown is a good market, but it's not as, it's not Reading. Reading is, a place where you could buy cheap houses and still get high rents, because you got a bunch of New Yorkers moving in and, they starting to raise the rents up. And because they see that the properties are so cheap and it's a good town, you know what I mean? So definitely a good area. So once you do your homework, what would be the next step?
Well, once I do my homework, man, I'll call my wholesaler, and if they let me know that, yo, man, this is the best deal, whatever the case may be, I do my analysis and do my inspection. After the inspection, I either call the bank up, depending on how I'm going to do the deal. I'll call my bank up and let them know, hey, man, I got a good one. First thing they're going to say, okay, send me over all the, they want to see the rent roll. They want to see what the property doing. They want to see if it makes sense. And then they'll send it through appraisal. And then if everything comes back with appraisal, depending on what it is, sometimes appraisal may be a little too high. And it's up to me if I want to make that difference. You know what I'm saying? If it's nothing crazy, and I'll add a couple thousand to it. But if it's not, then, hey, man, let's get it going. You know what I'm saying? So I'll call my bank up, and that'll be the next step from there.
So if somebody has bad credit right now, obviously they could go the creative route, but if their credit isn't the greatest, but they want to start building business credit and their personal credit, what would you recommend for that person? And before you even say that, I am going to link, again, check out Will Roundtree's podcast that I did with him, because I talked about that up above, and you can check that out. But what would you recommend?
I recommend getting that credit right. I knew how important that was before I even got in the game. And it's because that's why mentorship is so important, because before I got out here, I thought I knew about real estate, but I didn't really know about real estate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really didn't know that the skies was the limit, how much the potential I had to make each month until I got with Will and his team. So definitely I would advise getting your personal credit right. This way you can get business credit and leverage it to get to the bag. For sure.
For sure, man. So obviously we can't cover everything in a short period of time. But I see you on Clubhouse a lot.
Right.
I know that you providing value there as well. If our listeners wanted to get in contact with you, how should they do that?
You can follow me at Asahn Guyton across all social media platforms. It's all the same, Asahn Guyton.
Okay. And I'm going to put all of that in the description box for you. And I'm also going to make sure that you check them out on Clubhouse as well, because I'm telling you, this is where you're going to get the real value. You want to get your questions answered, go to Clubhouse. When Asahn is on, he'll be able to answer your questions for you live in person. Right?
Indeed.
So are you reading any books right now?
I am, man. I got a bunch of them. 21 Laws. What's that? The 21 Laws of Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, something like that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I just heard about that book. Who told me about it? One of my podcast guests last week told me about that book, and I downloaded it.
Okay, yeah, great book, man. Great book. Man, I'm always reading different books, man. I'm going back to certain books too. The Power of Broke by my man from
Damien
Shark Tank.
John.
Yeah, Damien John. I read that twice, but I'm reading it again for some reason. I just gotta refresh myself. And yeah, man, I'm always got a book open, man. You know, whenever I got downtime, for sure.
For sure, man. So the 21 Laws of Irrefutable something. I forgot the name of it, but I'll make sure that book is linked in the description box. Also, The Power of Broke too.
Absolutely. Great books. Great book.
Asahn, man, if you had to give our listeners some last words, what would those last words be?
Man, just to pull a trigger, man. Like sometimes you could put yourself in a position where you overlearn and you overthink and you overreading, right? And then you're not putting no action behind none of the information that you're taking in. Now, knowledge is power, but you know, I got a saying, it becomes powerless if we're not doing nothing with it. So, you know, get that information, don't overdo it. Once you get enough and you think you got enough to pull a trigger, start putting some action behind it. And then it's okay. If you fail, you fail. But at the end of the day, you just get back up and you just keep that thing going, man. So
right. You know what that's called? It's called failing forward, man. Fail
Indeed.
forward. Make mistakes, pick yourself back up and keep going. You can only get better, right?
Indeed, bro. Indeed.
That's right, man. Look, bro, I want to have you back sometime in the near future. Get a progress report, man. It's been a real pleasure. I know you got 65 units in less than 3 years.
Absolutely.
Anybody listening to this can do that. Would you agree?
Indeed. And I mean, I didn't go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I did was I studied the game, and I refuse to believe that we got to do it at a total space. You know what I mean? Not when there's so many different creative ways of financing. You know what I'm saying? And about how I be buying cash is the one I buy off cash, and then I refinance right away because I already got them paid off. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to go the traditional way. I get them refinanced right away. So like, it's so we could talk forever about, you know, how to acquire. Yeah, man. Sky's the limit.
Let me ask you this, man, before we go. What's your goal? Like, what's the end goal for you?
Yo, honestly, my end goal is to reach 100 units. And then by then I want to kind of get into the development game. You know what I'm saying? Just to see what it's about. I've been hearing a lot of great things, and it sounds real intriguing, man. And then I already did the math. At 100 units, I'll be in a real great position where I could finance a lot of the stuff myself. You know, hopefully I'm at roughly $50K a month, and I'm okay with that. I could do a lot of borrowing for myself at that point, where I don't got to keep going to a lender. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I want to get to about 100 units. I want to cross over to development, get into like multi-family development.
Well, you almost 3/4 of the way there, man. You got 35 more units and you'll be there, man. So that you should be able to do that in the next 2 years. You'll be good to go, man.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Man, congrats on all of your success, brother. And looking forward to having you again in the near future. Listen, everything that you guys heard on this podcast is extremely valid. Anybody can do what Asahn did in less than 3 years. You know, I always tell you, it takes 3 to 5 years to build a real business. Asahn did it in 3 years, and he's still going to his 100 property goal. If you guys get started, if you just start and not, just take the information that you're listening to and not do anything with it, at the end of the day, you can get the success that you're looking for as well. But you have to take massive action in order to get massive results. Listen, it's been a real pleasure. Looking forward to seeing y'all on the next one. And I'll see you then. Peace.
Appreciate you.